Hey everybody, it is September 18th, 2025, and I am proud to announce Vicki Mizel as my special guest on this particular episode of Frank About Health for multiple reasons. Number one, she is truly a motivator. I had the chance to spend a week and a day with her outside prior to this interview, and I only had met her like the day before we actually got together. A referral from Sam Leibowitz. A shout out to you again, Sam. You always pick the right referrals for me to feature on Frank About Health. And more importantly, another reason is because we're going to actually demonstrate a very important memory program that she offers to all of her clients and all of her corporate leaders that she works with, as well as other people that have suffered from things like dementia. And all of my listeners know out there about the history of my cousin and what she has gone through. So we're going to actually see a little snippet of her memory program somewhere in segment two, I believe. I will issue my disclaimer. The information here are not the talks and points of views of Frank About Health or talkradio.nyc, but rather, if you find it very insightful, inspirational, and informative for your own memory needs, as well as other kinds of health-related issues that you believe that someone like Vicky can help you out with, I definitely would say this is the show for you. If you disagree, by all means, just go to another show. I don't want to suffer the same fate that a certain late night talk show host had faced yesterday. Now, that being said, before I introduce you, Vicky, and have you start speaking, I want to read a little bit about your bio so everyone gets a background on you. First of all, everybody, because of the nature of this video, of this guest, I have titled this episode "You Must Remember Vicki Mizel." So that being said, Vicki Mizel will discuss on this episode of Frank About Health her memory program and bring life experience into how she has developed it. Spanning mental and neurological health, she has even discussed ways to engage and feel more of a high quality of life, even when dealing with other diseases. After 20 years of teaching and training, Vicky has returned to graduate school to receive her master's degree in psychology. She now offers her programs to therapists, healthcare practitioners, medical facilities, spouses, and caregivers of Alzheimer's patients, as well as other loved ones. She also trains actors and ways of learning their scripts and characterizations. Mizel also assists individuals, pre-retirees, and companies through career transition with her program Passion Quest, Finding the Work You Love and Loving the Work You Do. She is the author of the book Love Remembers. This book is the culmination of her knowledge and expertise offered to the reader in her belief that we can all retrieve, enhance, and cherish our memories. That all being said, Vicky, you have the floor. By all means, just talk about your background and just in general what you are going to be offering to my listeners and viewers today. And welcome to Frank About Health.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was especially impressed with your music about all the stars in the sky. And we're, they say we're stars, and the brain imagine as if the universe outside of us really is inside of us.
Yes.
And that as one practices this particular course, I call it brain sprouts because it
Hmm.
actually sprouts the brain and increases concentration, focus, recall, and really strengthens your brain so that as you get older, you get better
Yes.
as opposed to
Absolutely.
declining.
Yes. So
And
overall,
we witnessed that on Wednesday night.
yes. So I mean, go into basically how this became a passion project of you to really focus on the brain and memory training, and then also recap a little bit about what we did on Wednesday night.
Well, I got started with this because I wanted to go to grad school. I had been wanting to be a therapist and I was flunking statistics. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to have my dream come true because I'm not going to pass statistics. It's going to ruin my life. So I met a memory expert he did not know about the orators, the Greek orators, which I'd studied in college because they had a memory system way back in 400 BC. And even
Mm,
before that, in Egypt, they were
mm,
using pictures to make things happen, to
yeah.
see the end result of great armies and great kings and pharaohs. So hold on. I'm so sorry. There's some distraction. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Gary?
So for everyone out there, we're all connected is a theme music that happens in between shows right here on talkradio.nyc. Everyone knows my theme music. Sounds like me driving my car. It's a very very I'm in charge kind of motif. But the music she did talk about, which I also enjoy, is available on YouTube for those of you who want to find it. We're all connected. All
All
right.
right. Thank you. I apologize for that. There was some disturbance going on. I needed to correct it. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. So, but go ahead.
So anyway, I learned the technique. I was teaching kids at the time. I was a school teacher, and the kids, learned the math. I learned it in a day. I taught it the next day. And I was so impressed that within 2 weeks of teaching the students, they all did better on their vocabulary, they did better on their spelling, they did better in reading comprehension. And I was just so excited that I told the principal, and the principal basically said, Vicki, since you love this memory system so much. Oh, and the other thing, I was substitute teaching. So a substitute teacher has no control of the
Right.
kids, and the kids just want to completely take over and make your life miserable.
Yeah.
So the memory guy had brought me this original set of unprofessionally done homemade tapes, and but I listened to them and I learned how to remember names. So I would have about 25 new names per hour, 5 hours a day, and I memorized the kids' names within 5 minutes and then 3 minutes. And then I got bored. I started memorizing first and last names. Now, I had never had that experience before. And the kids were so impressed, they would applaud me. So,
Yeah.
being an actress and being applauded, it's like food for the soul. And so it just kept me going. And
Right.
I tried it and did it and tried it every day after day after day. And by the end of the day, usually after a long day working and teaching, one is very tired. And I noticed I wasn't tired, I was enlivened. So I knew
Yes.
something was going on.
Yes. The whole engagement of it all and watching your brain cells expand and the neural pathways actually develop further as you're taking on these new ways of getting these students engaged when there's nothing but chaos on a typical day, right?
Yeah, what happened was that I had control. The kids felt cared about, and I just got nothing but positive energy. And then it took about a year of doing it and practicing it. But after about a year, I did a pilot program on my own time, my own money at a school in Poway. And I
Mm-hmm.
taught it to a history class, an art class, an English class, and I think a math class. And then I called a journalist at the newspaper and said, will you come in and watch me and do a story about this? And then I actually got one of the students on Sun Up San Diego, which was going on in San Diego at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid is the one who did the memory demonstration.
Very
And his
nice.
father told me it meant the world to him, seeing that kind of confidence in his son. He was born with kind of like a fin for an arm. And
Mm.
it always bothered him. But now that he had this strong memory and ended up remembering a list of 15 items within about 5 minutes and rattled them back off perfectly, his confidence soared. the dad told me that he became a coach for a girls' baseball or softball, and he
Mm.
just his whole life started to flourish by the confidence he had, being able to not only remember things, socially, but academically as well.
So was your interest in this memory program more driven just based on your experience with the children, or was it based on your focus on people with dementia, or was it just something you fell into?
It was I feel it was my fate, being at this party and meeting this memory guy, I think turned my life around. It started, it, it was I faced the day it happened changed my life.
Yes.
And what I, it was when I got hired, I called when the newspaper story came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I took it to the head of gifted in San Diego City Schools. And no, actually, I sent it to him. And I
Right.
said, I'd like an appointment with you because I would like to be a consultant teaching this memory program in San Diego City Schools. It wasn't my idea. It was the principal of the school where I was working. He
Mm.
said, Vicki, you should not be just in one classroom. You should be all over San Diego teaching this to the kids. So I got hired to teach 2 lessons per school. There were 60 schools. So I taught 120 lessons a year for 5 years. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of those 5 years, my brain had changed. I could visualize. So my reading speed increased, my reading comprehension increased, my acting improved, my
Nice.
imagination improved, my confidence improved. I decided it was too important. Well, that's when I decided I had to bring this to the world. And that's when I went to corporations. I wanted them to underwrite education. I wrote a letter to Reagan. I sent him a set of memory tapes. I ended up buying the rights from them. And then I spent my inheritance when my mom passed away on putting this whole tape program together. Then they became CDs and now they're MP3s. So
Very nice.
I wanted to feel like even someone in Malaysia who wanted to learn this method could. So I have it available on YouTube. I have it in audio, MP3s or CDs, and then I also have courses that I teach that people can find on brainsproutsmemory.com.
Well, there you have it, everybody. We're about to take our first break, but that is the background of how Vicki Mizel took her passion and her interest in being a psychologist with the hesitation due to her inability to pass statistics, because I do know, having a neuropsych degree from NYU, that you needed statistics to do your thesis. So that being said, she took the passion and her desire, integrated the two, and we're going to spend the rest of the show talking proof of that. And during the commercial, you will see books that she's written, as well as I said in the second segment, we're going to have a 5-minute video about her memory program. So
And I
please stay.
did pass statistics.
Okay, good. Be or better, I presume. All right. That all being said, everybody, please stay tuned, as you must remember Vicki Mizel right here on Frank About Health on talkradio.nyc and on our YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitch platforms. If you have any questions, just go ahead and contact us, and our engineer behind the scenes will let us know what you want to know from Vicki or myself. All right, stay tuned. We'll be back in a few.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a purpose-driven individual looking for deeper healing, clarity, and growth? Welcome to the Expansion Room, a transformative space for purpose-driven individuals. I'm Siobhan Larice, host, licensed therapist, and coach. Join me every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. I just gave you a preview of two books that Vicki has written. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that only one of them have to do with your memory program, especially for the Alzheimer's, but the other one has to do with an experience during COVID with your brother, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. But is there perchance anything within your memory program that motivated you with that book as well, or is it just a separate and distinct issue? And unmute first.
When I was in grad school and I went to Antioch University, Antioch was great because they didn't give you grades. They gave you papers and essays so that instead of just, quote, memorizing, regurgitating, and forgetting it, they would give you the knowledge and then have you put that knowledge to use. So it became a part of you. And so by the end of 2 years, when I saw that I had a stack of papers this big, I said, "Oh my gosh, well, I could write a book if I've written that many papers."
Yes.
So while in grad school, the first 6 months, after the first 6 months, then I started I got a credit. It was a class, and it was to work on creating a book. It was
Mm.
originally called They Can Still Remember to Love. Then, when I was about a year and a half into grad school, I got hit by a big rig truck.
Oh,
And
wow.
the truck was really big. And I was driving thank God I was driving a AMC Eagle. It's a Jeep, like an armored car, and it hit me, boom, boom, boom. And I ended up brain injured. And I
Mm.
still had to finish school, and I still had future patients. So I did have to take a little hiatus because I couldn't write at that time. I just couldn't even make a sentence.
Mm.
And then I called my supervisor. I was like, "I have patients. How am I going to handle this?" She said, "Ask them if you can record the session, get that transcribed, and then we can still meet and I can supervise you." So what happened was I went to UCLA, and this was 1999. They didn't know the brain could regenerate yet. I knew because of what happened with my students and what happened with me.
Yes.
But I I I got help. I actually got help from a man named Dr. Tuman, Harold Tuman, and he said, your memory course gave you this super powerful memory. Your memory course is the thing that's going to help you recover from your brain injury. He said, "You're
Yeah.
slow. Old people are slow. Go find some old people and teach them your memory course, and you'll get better." So I thought, okay, that sounds like a good idea. And I found out 3 days later that Los Angeles Unified School District had a whole memory program for older adults. So I called them up and I went, me. Can I come in? I said, look, I have a whole memory system. Can I teach my memory system under your umbrella? And the guy invited me in. It was July of 2000,
Mm,
2001 at that point. And it took a while to recover enough to, function. And he said, come on in. He said, we only have 2 classes. I said, that's perfect. So I started with 2 classes. Within 4 months, I was doing 9 classes. So I was teaching both dementia, Alzheimer's, and regular seniors for 18 hours a week for 2.5 years. And during
amazing.
that time, I improved, they improved, nobody declined. And then during that time, that 2.5 years, a girlfriend that I had met when we were in Russia together said, you need to be in a writing class. I'm going to put you in this writing class. So she put me in Holly Prado's writing class. I went to the class. I said, listen, I've got a brain injury. I used to be able to write an article or an essay in a week. I can't even put 2 sentences together. And Holly said, that's okay. We'll help you. So it took me a month to write an article. And then when I started working with the seniors and I just tell them about the day, what I was doing with them, Holly said, oh, Vicki, that's remarkable. You're actually making progress with teaching people, some who aren't even speaking, they're nonverbal, and through you doing memory and pantomime with them and helping them find other ways to communicate, you're getting them to start talking again. That's remarkable. So
Incredible.
just go home and scrawl, just get it on the page. So I did that for that whole 2.5 years. And then as I got better and better, then I started rewriting. And then the rewriting was better than the beginning writing. And it took about 8 years, honestly. And then everyone in the class let me read the whole book to them through a series of classes. Like they'd give an hour where I could read it aloud and they'd give me feedback. And then right before I published it, Holly went back and edited every chapter one more time. So it had 8 edits. So this book is perfect. And so it felt like all of my years, 25 years of teaching the memory system, all my research into teaching kids, teaching executive, teaching corporate, teaching students in junior high, high school, college, grad school, and CEOs, all the different levels of presentation skills, name recall, listening skills, the whole gamut. I just felt like this is what I was meant to do, to bring this knowledge to every thinking human so that they can have their best self available for them and be able to do their best and give their best and be happy.
Is that how you came up with the name Brain Sprouts Memory?
I came up with brain sprouts one night. I was taking my cats. I took my cats outside. I lived in Los Angeles at that time. And every day I'd come home, let the cats out. We lived at the Oakwood Apartments on Barham. And so it was really huge. And the cats would run in the bushes and the trees and play around.
Yeah.
And I thought, someone said, your memory system is more than memory. And you have to find a new title for it. It can't just be called the associative memory course. That has no zing to it.
Yeah.
So as I was walking, I thought, when people are thinking and they can't remember, they go, oops, snap, I remember.
Aha
And then
moment.
And then it was an aha moment. And then just then, literally, my brain just came up with brain sprouts. And I thought, oh my God, that's what it does. It it enhances the brain so much
Yes.
that you actually can do all the things you ever wished and wanted to do. At least that's what happened to me. And so many people that I've taught have achieved their goals. One of my students, much later in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
was no one in her school and her family had ever gone to college. I think she had a brother in jail, a sister who dropped out and gotten pregnant. She had no role models.
Mm.
And when I was teaching, after the accident, actually went back to teach another 13 years. So I really worked. I would drill the kids with the memory system every day.
Yes.
And this woman's name was Sandra. She called me after she had graduated and had gone on to college. And then she said, Miss Mizell, I just wanted to tell you that I went to the police academy, and I became a sergeant. But because of your memory system, she goes, remember the memory system and used to drill us day in and day out? I said, yeah. She goes, thank you. And she said, I
Very
am
nice.
now a lieutenant. And she said, I know I'm a lieutenant because I could do the work. And I was able to do the work because of those techniques.
Now, you did say to me earlier, like when you were texting me about tonight's show, that there was something about mnemonics that you wanted to emphasize. I mean, was that part of the program? Your memory program?
Mnemonic, mnemonics is, but there's another story I actually want to tell you. When I was in New York and I had just really started teaching to
Mm-hmm.
corporate, I was teaching the How to Remember Names course in 3 hours. And then IBM said, we don't have time for that. I taught it in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But there was a gentleman named John, well, not Monroe. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah.
And John said, I would like to learn your system privately to help me with presentation skills. He said, I'm asked to speak at a lot of events where I can't see the audience. It's just lights. And I don't know how to respond to just lights. So
Mm.
I worked with him, and we signed up for 10 lessons. And after the sixth lesson, he came to me and he said, I've got everything I need. I'm, knocking these presentations out in the park. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And he just went on, continuing working. I think he was vice president of insurance company. And then I get a letter from him almost probably 20 years later.
Hmm.
He said, I just want to let you know that that memory system you taught me, I ended up teaching it to my sales team. Everybody improved. We increased profits. We got along better. They were more motivated. And he said, then I retired and I had an accident where I slipped on the ice and cut my head open and it was bleeding.
Wow.
And I don't know if he'd lost consciousness or not, but he said he decided at that time to move to Seattle. And he was at the University of Seattle with other people who had severe brain injuries, but he'd
Hmm.
remembered that he had this memory system. So he ended up teaching everybody in that University of Washington program.
Mm-hmm.
He got better. They all got better. And he said, not only did you give me this for my livelihood, but you gave me a system that gave me back my brain and gave me
Nice.
back my life.
Well, you're not going to believe this, but we're ready for our next break. But it's perfect timing at the same time because during the commercial, I'm going to show the page with Brain Sprouts memory. And then when we come back from the break, I'm going to go straight into your memory video that illustrates everything you've just seen. And meanwhile, I think you have a special guest you want to introduce in our third segment coming up. So have him on standby. So when I flip the screen back after the video, we can start talking more about that second book that you wrote.
Okay,
All right.
that's great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And everybody, just please stay tuned right here on Frank About Health on talkradio.nyc and on all of our socials. We'll be back in a few.
Misalignment within your sales team or with a client stalls deals and creates unnecessary friction for you and the client, resulting in up to 37% lower win rate. If you're in pre-sales, sales, sales management, or sales enablement, and you'd like to increase revenues, win rate, margins, client satisfaction, and stay competitive, this show is for you. Hi, I'm Art Fromm, host of the Making Seamless Sales Show. Please join me live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marsanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc, broadcasting 24 hours a day.
And then he said, and I'm been a memory trainer for quite a long time. And in speaking of goals, I wanted to do a quick little memory exercise for you because when you have goals, it's best to see them in your mind and be able to view them over and over and over, and then you bring them forth. One of the things about the memory system, there's 4 steps to it. You have one item. Well, instead of explaining it, just you make a association and you make the information pictures. So I made this little, I don't even know if you can see it, but for healthy longevity for the year, one is exercise. So we have dumbbells, nutrition. I have a protein shake. Purpose could sound like a porpoise. Passion would be fire, flame. Love is a heart, and healthy longevity is making your brain sprout. So I have little chia seeds. So the way to make the association with this, and you can do this with strategic planning goals. Once you know the technique of how to remember names, you can use it for that. Same thing with presentation skills. But the power of it is when something becomes a picture and it's met with unusualness and in motion, it helps make outstanding recall. So a huge part of this memory program helps you with focus, concentration, recall, and regenerating the brain. So I'd like you to start in your imagination and see yourself exercising with dumbbells. Then I want you to imagine I use this core power protein. It actually comes in 42 grams as well. And then imagine the core power is associated and it's now the dumbbells are drinking the core power. Then imagine the core power protein is jumping on a porpoise and swimming. The porpoise is flying through a flame to represent passion. The flame is hugging a heart, and that represents love. And the heart is growing neural branches or growing chia seeds, and that represents neural brain sprouts. So that's just a simple example of being able to take a word, make it into a picture, and make the connection. So does everyone see that in their mind? So the way this oh, good, great. So the way this parlays is, this is just an aspect of part of the first lesson. And there's about 6 main lessons, but about 12 lessons altogether. So you can use this method for remembering names. How many of you have had the experience where you walk into a store or restaurant and someone calls you by your name and they're so happy to see you, and for the life of you, you can't remember their name? And so this can help you never forget a name again. When I was 28 years old and I had first gotten involved with, oh, thank you. I got involved with this memory expert. Turned out he was a con artist. He took the money that I had invested and snorted up his nose. And I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I involved with this? And I went to Egypt, and I was in front of the tomb of Osiris, or actually inside the tomb of Osiris. And what I saw was pictures of fertile crops, great armies. And I was told that when the pharaohs were babies, a psychic would actually read their future. And they would take artists blindfolded in horse and buggy, put a mirror up next to the sunlight, and it would shine inside the tombs, and they would draw these pictures. And I'm getting chills now. And I asked, what am I doing? Why am I getting this memory program? And it was because, Vicki, you're a messenger of this method of the power of pictures, stimulating the brain, giving people access to their natural gifts and talent, their true purpose. And if you can give everyone this ability to have in their own brains the power of pictures, they can fulfill their destiny just the way the pharaohs were in Egypt. I've taught kids, adults, CEOs, salespeople, healthcare. This method works pretty much with anybody from, I'd say, 5 years old to almost 100 years old. Anyone who's interested in the audio series that I would make available a full memory lesson for an hour to hour and a half, which is worth over $200. If they purchase the audio series, either MP3s or CDs, then I would throw in a free memory course for you.
All right. There we have it. And I can see your special guest is right there. Um, as soon as you're ready to unmute, you can introduce him. And by the way, was the video sounding okay on your end?
Yeah, it sounded great. I just want to let people know where to go. You can go to Brain Sprouts, BRAIN Sprouts, plural, SPROUTS.com, and then go to shop. And the MP3s and the audio tapes are $297, and then you get a free lesson with it. So that's a special if you're just say, I'm with Frank, and you'll get the special deal.
All right, cool, cool. So meanwhile, we talked earlier about your books, one of them obviously for Alzheimer's patients. but
Well, it's
more.
not just Alzheimer's, it's everybody, including Alzheimer's.
Oh, okay. As any form of dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's or the other types that exist.
No, even normal people, kids,
Okay, that's
normal
true.
people. Like
The
you don't
health
want to
goes
wait and do memory training when you have a memory problem. You want to start
true.
really when you're in your teens, 20s, so that you'll be a genius by the time you graduate. And then you'll be like Lynn and be 100 years old, singing and dancing and doing Pilates and yoga and eating whatever you want and looking forward to every day of life.
Yes,
So, no, this method, the sooner you learn it, the stronger you get, the better you get, and the more you will have a stronger brain no, as you get older. Instead of declining, you'll get stronger and stronger and better.
great.
And if you have dementia or Alzheimer's, there is a way to use it in a modified way where they too can improve.
Awesome. But the second book, A Sister's Love, that's what I want to now hear about, both from your perspective since you wrote the book, but also your guest's perspective. You'd like to introduce him?
Yeah, this is you want to stand here?
Oh, there I am.
I dressed him. He loves this show. Turns out it's the #1 show in New York.
Sick.
So I got the phone call from the doctor in Mount Sinai, New York, about 3 blocks from where my brother lives. And he said, your brother's dying. He's on life support, and we'll give you a phone and you can keep him company over the phone and watch him die. And
Because he had COVID, right?
he was really bad with COVID. And
Mm,
I said, no, that's not okay. I'm coming to see him. And it took a little more than that. But the bottom line is I flew to see him.
yeah.
And Gary, you can say what your experience was like from there.
Well, I had never heard of the coronavirus when I was diagnosed. I was kind of learning about what I had, and I was unaware of how many people were dying of it and how it was a worldwide catastrophe. So um,
Yes.
it kind of made sense to me as I was hearing about it because I was so deathly ill.
Wow.
And you would have to know my sister and what she's been like throughout her whole life, bringing the world of homeopathy and acupuncture and chiropractic and the Eastern kinds of cures. And so when I was aware of the plague and that I had this plague, I was kind of coming to terms with that I was not going to survive it. But then you have to know my sister, what she's like when she becomes motivated. She like won't take no for an answer. So she has access to a lot of resources that other people really don't have. And, I know who these people are and what they're able to produce. So I would say that the #1 thing of the many things that my sister provided me, like she was bypassing nurses and bypassing all kinds of barriers that people were putting in her way. And she was bringing me Kate's protein liquid. So I was getting the protein that they weren't really giving me with these minuscule meals they were delivering. And then
Right.
when I found out that she was bringing homeopathic medicine from Dr. Binder, then I started thinking, well, I have the ability to beat this because I know who this man is, and he is probably the foremost homeopath in the country. And she has a close relationship with him. And if he says that I have something that can attack this disease and this virus, then that's how I felt about it. And as soon as she started smuggling in the homeopathy and
And nutrition too.
the
The
nutrition,
nutrition,
I
yes.
started feeling
Much
stronger
better.
and my attitude started changing. And I remember one day I kind of woke up thinking, I don't think I'm going to die at all, you know? So that's when it all turned around. And that was after Vicky was, I don't know if she would want me to talk about how she actually did this, but they did not want her playing the role of nutrition and nurse, but she had to get around all the people that were delivering my food and delivering things that were inadequate for somebody who's trying to have the energy to fight a major virus and lethal disease. So I would say that my survival was 100% due to my sisters knowing how to fight this, having access to the medication that I needed, and having the courage to bypass all the barriers. So I
Oh,
think that's
absolutely.
the complete story.
I would say her memory program literally created a type of hypervigilance in her brain and a willpower that most people could not even muster through during the pandemic. I had to deal with that, dealing with my father recovering from cancer at the same time while preventing when I got COVID from him getting it while he's on
Oh,
immunotherapy. So I can understand all of the vigilance that she did to get what she needed to accomplish. And here you are, testimony to her work. And I also give credit, Vicky, to your memory training course, whether it was done indirectly or through innate instinct,
Yeah,
so
Gary would say to me, he'd take my hand and say, "We'll have this time to look back on," meaning we'll have a future. So my brain went to the future of birthday parties, visits to New York, bringing my cat to be with him for his birthday is the next year.
nice.
And even though we had to have that hard conversation, what do you want in case of death? And Gary said he wanted to be cremated and ashes spread around the squirrels in Tulsa at
that's
Woodward
true.
Park.
Uh,
Uh, that was the only time that we shared, but I never had the vision of a casket. I never had the vision of him dying. And I only had the vision of him walking out of there, seeing the end result of, him smiling, him getting stronger, seeing him walking out of the hospital. So that is a byproduct of the memory system. When you
The
want something
visualization.
and you see the end result of what you want to create, and then you can link that with another image of what you want to create and another image of what you want to create. And out of it came the book, Love Remembers. Then out of that came my speaking engagements of leadership now in corporations, leading from the heart.
Yes.
And so it's started a whole nother level of my career. Thank you, Gary.
Well, first of all,
you're
Gary,
known
I
by
have
the
to
company you keep, see? So I've had
absolutely.
this company my whole life, so she's like a guardian angel.
Well, we actually went a little over time because I wanted your story to definitely be testimony. As a matter of fact, your vision has come true, Vicky, because now this is being recorded and it is going to be a reflection of what you accomplished 5 years ago. And then when we return, we're going to hear how Vicky helped me this past week, right here on Frank About Health. It'll be a shorter section, but it'll be the finale of showing how Vicki Mizel is the woman you need to talk to help with your memory, to help with all of the kind of healthcare concerns you have regarding your family, friends, colleagues, if it's in the workplace. Overall, you must remember Vicki Mizel.
Okay, I'll sign off with that then.
All
Okay.
right,
Thank you,
everybody, we'll be
Vicki.
back
All
in a
right.
few.
Thank you, Gary.
I got a great asset here,
On Frank About Health, we're not just talking healthcare. We're managing disruption and innovation. Over the last 4 years, I've taken you from epilepsy and COVID to mental health, caregiving, and now the front lines of healthcare transformation. Stay tuned for a healthier future as we bring on the innovators, professionals, storytellers, and advocates who show you how to own your healthcare every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Ready to serve up success with a splash? Hi, I'm Bruce Kramer, aka the Corporate Cockroach.
I'm the Renaissance woman, Angie Snowball.
And I'm your strategy doctor, Dr. Navtej Dasanj, inviting you to serving up success with a splash.
Join us as we shake things up with real talk and real strategies centered around awareness, action, and accountability.
And yes, there really is a cocktail involved. Please join us and sip your way to success.
Serve serving up success with a splash, where wisdom meets happy hours. Cheers!
Cheers! You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. I have to tell you, the last three segments of this show has really wrapped up what Vicki Mizel is all about. And I am proud to call you my friend, even though I've known you for the last 7 to 10 days. But what I have in our interactions, first of all, what I mentioned in the beginning of the show, and you touched upon, Lynn, we were at Don't Tell Mamas. I think it was last Wednesday around 6 or 7 in the evening. And you were showing an individual at 100 years old singing full-length songs with her family supporting her and benefiting, I believe, from some of the memory information you provided to her, correct?
Well, Lynn learned the memory system 35 years ago when she was going through a divorce and she was having a rough time sleeping, so that affected her memory. But her friend said, Vicki, you must have her come to your memory class. So I brought her and gifted it to her. She did master the training and she did this role of Greta Garbo, and she was Garbo.
Wow.
So Lynn probably has the technique usable and available, but I would say that her tremendous will, her attitude of gratitude, and the fact that she is a solid performer, actress, and singer, and the fact that she is actually translating from Russian to English and English to Russian day and night with her housekeeper, Natasha, and her doing exercise physiology. I mean, her doing exercises of Pilates and yoga and boxing and dancing because of her exercise physiologist, Sharon, and because she's eating very healthy, lots of real good homemade meals, proteins, vegetables,
Nice.
fruits. She's being, she made her goal. She takes the action. She has the love and support of people that ended up coming to her in her life to make all this manifest.
Now, and then Saturday, you were my guest at a fashion show that was raising money for an orphanage. And when you communicated about me after having seen my documentary, as well as knowing you were going to be on this show, you turned the event into our bubble of being the cheerleaders for the team. Why don't you share with the listeners and viewers what your skill set, your memory, everything that we've talked about the last 45 minutes, how you were able to make me and Frank About Health into a well-recognized opportunity for those people.
Well, one of the eight of us became the in crowd through our fearless leader, Frank. But when you told me your situation about your health, that you had originally started radio to talk about different diseases and how to improve them, but then you said it's shifted now.
Well,
And
yeah, I was talking about epilepsy, removing the stigma, and then the focus shifted to COVID, and then has moved even to what's going on in our nation with disruption, a lot of
yeah, and
disruption
that's
across
what I
healthcare.
want to address. I want to address that for those listening, Frank is spearheading a movement now. And it's frank about health, but it's truly, can you be frank with yourself about your own health? Can you choose to exercise, find a way to improve memory skills, do everything you can for yourself and have your own awareness? A doctor can't be in your body and they can't watch you day and night. They can encourage and they can make suggestions, but if I had listened to the doctor saying just watch your brother and let him die over the phone, that was not the best advice, but it was their advice at the time based on the information they had.
Right.
Doctors some of them are amazing, outstanding, and specialists, but honestly, you have to do your own due diligence. You have to do your own research. You have to recognize they're just human. Medical degrees have very little nutrition, hours of the study of nutrition in it. That's why there are many MDs who have gone on to do additional studies, which they call functional medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's thinking a little bit outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get your thyroid checked and then you get your stomach, making sure you're doing probiotics and prebiotics, and then you get your brain scanned, like through the Amen Clinic, and you detox your body because we're getting so much through smog, through the air, through our food, unfortunately, through chemicals, through cleaning chemicals that are going on in big business where people are breathing in these things. It's affecting pregnant women, gas fumes. There is a test that people can take, frozen toxic urine test that shows what's in your body. Like I took it and I found I had plastic in my body. I was like, how did I get plastic in my body? And then ways of detoxing that. And then once your body's clean and clear, then the nutrients that you take and vitamin supplements you take, other forms of nutrition, then the body can actually use it and utilize it. So right now we have a wake-up call that Frank wants everybody to just kind of say, instead of just hoping, wishing, and wanting something to get better or be better, ask yourself what you truly want, make the effort on your own to do it, get other people to help you,
Mm-hmm.
stay committed to it, have an accountability partner.
Yeah.
And whatever your doctor says, you can follow it, but also you can do more on your own. And the attitude, Lynn's attitude of gratitude, she said every day she thanks God for her life, her health, her home, her family, her friends, her artwork, her great health. And when you have the attitude of gratitude, you can live like my brother. He
Yes. I'm getting the signal. We have another show coming on in less than 2 minutes. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, you must remember Vicki Mizel. She helped me.
actually have them remember, I remember Vicki Mizel, and that's the new website for training and speaking. I remember
Vicki.
Vicki Mizel with an I, Vicki with an I.
And
Just like
so, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back next week with another episode of Frank About Health. It'll be my season finale, and we will recap what has been going on the last couple months. Thank you again, Vicki, for being here. We're gonna sign off right now. I will give you a call in about 5 minutes, but thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Gary, and thanks again, Jesse, for producing
my
today's show.
pleasure. Thank you. And everyone remember, be frank about health.
Absolutely. All right,
Okay.
everybody. Take care. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.